Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to my Sunday stream. Playing Magic as usual. Um, Playing beginner stuff. So we'll be on Sundays. First of all, I'm CounterTop Commander. I play pretty much exclusively Commander. I play pretty exclusively physical cards. Um, and I have a lot of commander decks, so I like to play them. And I don't always, especially what's going on, I don't always get the chance to play them unless it's basically testing them out for myself. And I thought, why not? Why not try to do this? So these are four beginner decks that I use kind of to teach Magic. And so on Sundays, that's what I do is I kind of go through all of the steps and kind of show how Magic is played more or less. And then on Wednesday or Thursday, I do another stream where I just kind of play whatever I want, and it's sometimes goofy stuff, sometimes a little bit more serious, sometimes crappy decks, sometimes strong decks, sometimes themed stuff. So it's just whatever and however I want. Mm. This this past week I did planes, trains, and automobiles. So, and I've done Guild Wars stuff. So, in any case, let's go and get started. So we today we'll have dragons versus demons versus angels versus sphinxes. So each of these decks are monocolored, so it makes it a lot easier. They're also tribal, which just means that they try to focus around one specific creature type, with a little lax stuff here and there just to help it out. They're kind of meant to be attuned against each other, so they're not really necessarily tuned for a specific meta other than these decks here. So these are there's two of each of the five colors of Magic. So there's two red, two blue, two white, two black, two green, and so these are the what I call big tribes. So they are the creatures that take a lot of mana, a lot of stuff to try to get out, versus the small tribes are like goblins and soldiers and stuff that doesn't take too much mana, too much resources to get out. So we're starting with dragons here, and you can tell our commander. So when it comes to commander decks, we choose a legendary creature that we want to base our deck off of, essentially. And in this case, it's Lathless Dragon Queen. So it's sort of the basics of the cards here. We have the name up here at the top and the cost. So this cost, well, let me see. Let me really quickly here. I didn't have it brought up, but let me go ahead and open up Scryfall and show it on screen so we can get a good look at what this is. So let's do there we go. Perfect. Okay, so in the top right hand corner we have the mana cost. In this case it's 4 colorless and 2 red. So we can basically it costs 6 mana to play, and we create mana from lands that we get to play one of each turn. So this one, you have to pay 2 of the 6 cost with red mana, but then you can pay the other 4 with whatever you want. Moving down on the card, there's a card art, then the creature type line. So this just tells you what type of creature it is, in this case a legendary dragon. And then, the set symbol, there's a rules text box underneath that, which tells you what the card does. And so in this case, we have the dragon flies, which means that it can't be blocked except by creatures with flying. So creatures without flying can't block it. There's a little bit more to it than that, but that's the general premise, is that we fly over our opponents, and we can block creatures without flying with our flying creatures, but they just can't block us because we go over them. Then whenever another non-token dragon creature enters the battlefield under your control, we get to create a free 5/5 dragon. And then we can pump up dragons by paying mana. We can make our dragons stronger. And so the final thing is this bottom right hand corner is the power and toughness, and so the first number is the power, how much damage this creature can deal in a turn, and the second number is the toughness, the amount of damage it can take in a turn. So starting out, kind of wrapping that up, we're going to go and look at our opening hand here. We have a decent opening hand, and I say that because we started off with 3 lands here. We have these 3 mountains. Let me go ahead and close this. We're starting off with 3 mountains, which is a good step because we want to ultimately get to 6, and we can help that along with this Mind Stone. This Mind Stone allows us to tap it to add a colorless mana to our mana pool, so we're going to be able to do that. In addition to that, we have a turn 1 creature to be able to play so that we can get that online, and after that we have our choice of a card that makes it so that our creatures have haste. So normally when a creature comes into play, it can't attack on the turn that it came out, because it has Summoning Sickness. In this case, haste, this card, Hammer of Perforos, gives all of our creatures haste, so they can attack freely whenever they want to. And then the final card is Honor of the God Pharaoh, which is a card that allows us to draw cards. So that could be really useful later on to try to get us to draw us into some more land in case we miss some of our land drops. So when you start a game of Magic, you start with 7 cards. If you're playing against more than one opponent, you get to draw a card on your first turn. So turn order goes untap, upkeep, draw, and we don't have anything to untap. We'll talk about that when we get there. We don't have anything for our upkeep, so we just go straight to our draw step, and we drew Rage Reflection, a enchantment that gives our creatures double strike. So that's going to be really good. Once we get up to that 6 mana, it's going to be really, really good. So let's go ahead and play. After the draw step, there is the next phase of the turn is called the main phase 1. That's where you get to play all the stuff that you want to. So in this case, we can play 1 land each of our turns. So we're going to go and play a mountain, and then we're going to tap it for, we're going to go and get that Dragon Master Outcast out. So he costs 1 red to play, and he's a 1/1 creature. He is a human shaman, but he has this really cool ability that at the beginning of our upkeep, if we control 6 or more lands, we get to get a free 5/5 dragon. So this guy is going to make free dragons for us the later on in the game that we get. So we're really hoping to get to that point sometime later on, but for now, it's okay to go ahead and get it out of our hand and pass the turn. We won't see him activate for a while, but that's going to be okay. So, moving on from there, we have the Demon Deck. So, demons are a little bit strange. They definitely can be a little weird for a new beginner, but I think that ultimately, once you kind of get a taste for how it operates, then you start to realize how good it can really be. So our commander in this case is Vilis, Broker of Blood. He costs 8 mana, and he is an 8/8 creature. He also has flying, and he has pay a black, pay 2 life. Target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. So we can essentially use this ability as many times as we have mana open for it in order to try to essentially kill off an opposing creature. That being said, he has one more ability that makes it really special. Whenever we lose life, we draw that many cards. So whenever somebody attacks us, we're going to get to draw a bunch of cards. Or whenever, say, we activate his ability and pay 2 life, that is life loss, so we will draw cards. So essentially what happens is when you have him out, you'll pay a black and 2 life to give something -1/-1, and then immediately draw 2 cards. So it's going to be really cool. Starting with our opening hand, we kind of have a slow one, but we're going to try to see if we can't work something out with that. We basically just have 3 enchantments. We don't have any creatures, and we don't have any kind of ability to increase our mana quite yet, but we're going to try to hope for that by using this Liliana's Contract. So when it enters the battlefield, we draw 4 cards and lose 4 life. So if we can get up to this, then maybe we can maybe draw into some mana stuff that'll allow us to get ahead. So let's go ahead and draw our first card for the turn, and it is Indulgent Tormentor. So that's actually kind of pretty cool. He's another 5-cost card, so it's going to take a little bit, but once we get him out, it should be nice. So we'll go ahead and put this Desert of the Glorified into play tapped. It's a land that taps for a black mana, but it also has a second ability that we can use to draw a card. Right now, we're not really wanting to get rid of our land, so we're not going to use that ability. We're just going to put it into play tapped, and it comes into play tapped because it actually says that. Then we will pass the turn and move on to Angels. So whereas the Demon deck likes to get rid of its own life to draw more cards, the Angel deck likes to gain life. So we're going to be doing the exact opposite, actually. So let's go and look at our commander. It's Regna the Redeemer. She is a 6-cost 4/4 Angel. She has flying, and then at the beginning of each end step, if your team gained life this turn, create 2 1/1 white warrior creature tokens. So that's going to be really, really good as we keep going on, because we'll hopefully be able to, and what we'll try to do is we're going to try to gain life on as many turns as we can, so that we just keep making more and more little creatures. And to help out with that, to help out with making a bunch of creatures, is we have this Spear of Heliod, which gives our creature, it's an artifact enchantment for 3 mana. It gives all of our creatures +1/+1. And then it has pay a colorless and 2 white, tap, destroy target creature that dealt damage to you this turn. So we also have a really slow hand, but the cool thing is that we can just kind of wait it out, and whenever somebody attacks us, we can retaliate by immediately killing their creature. So that's going to be really useful later on, and hopefully we can hang on to that card for a while. So untap, upkeep, draw a card, and we have our 6th land. So we had 5 lands to start out with. This is our 6th land. So we're going to go ahead and take that and play a Plains and pass the turn. Our final deck is Sphinxes. And Sphinxes are a little different. Each of these decks kind of have their own quirk. In this case, the Sphinx deck is a deck that's going to try to make copies of things. So Sphinxes are really expensive to cast. I think one of the Sphinxes in this deck actually costs 9 mana to play. So we have things that cost a lot of mana, and we don't want to have to keep using all of that mana every turn. So we're going to use effects that make copies of our Sphinxes. And the reason that we want to do that is because of our commander. Our commander is Unesh, Cryosphinx Sovereign. It is a 6-cost, 4 colorless, 2 blue, 4/4 Sphinx. It has flying, just like basically everything else at this table. Then it also has Sphinx spells you cast cost 2 less to cast. So we do get a discount whenever we have them out. We can cast things for cheaper. And then we also have, whenever Unesh or another Sphinx enters the battlefield under your control, reveal the top 4 cards of your library. An opponent separates those cards into 2 piles. Put 1 pile into your hand and the other into your graveyard. So what we're going to do is, by playing cheaper cards that make copies of Sphinxes, we can actually utilize Unesh's ability over and over again and draw into more cards, kind of like the Demon deck is going to do, except we'll be drawing the cards a little differently. Hang on a second. I was thinking maybe we needed a little bit more light. That looks a lot better. Okay, so let's see what we have. Untap, upkeep, draw a card. Oh wait, sorry, we need to look at our opening hand. Silly me. So we're starting out with 4 lands, which is really good. We're also starting out with a creature that taps to add a blue mana to our mana pool, so really good as well. Then we have basically sort of 2 removal spells. One of them is removal, one of them is what's known as a tempo card. So Dream Fracture counters target spell. So whenever somebody tries to play something, we can say, nah, you don't get to do that. And we put a stop to it before it ever does anything. Whereas Repulse is a card that does return target creature to its owner's hand and draw a card. So Repulse will basically be, oh, you used your entire turn to cast that one big creature. Well, how about put that creature back into your hand and I'll make you replay that creature again. Like we said a little bit ago, creatures come into play with Summoning Sickness, so they can't attack on the turn that you play them, which means that you basically lose a turn to be able to redo the thing that you wanted to do. And that's messing up your tempo. So that's kind of why it's sort of called a tempo play, or maybe a card that deals with tempo. Is we're trying to put an opponent off of their tempo in order to gain advantage. So untap, upkeep, draw a card, and there's our first Sphinx, Conundrum Sphinx. It's a decent one. We'll see how good it really is. So let's go ahead and play an island, and then we will pass the turn. So now we've made it all the way around the table, and we're getting back to the dragons to see if they can burn everything else out of the game. Let's untap, draw a card, and we have Sunbirds Invocation. Ooh, this is going to be a really tricky one later on. This one is one that we want to hold on to and make sure that we play at the right time. So we'll play in our main phase. After we get done with drawing the card, we'll play a mountain, and then we will play that Mind Stone I talked about a little bit ago. And now we can add mana to our mana pool. So at this point, the question is, we have a creature, nobody else does. We could attack, but the 1 damage normally isn't all that big of a deal. And generally speaking, when it's sort of like in this situation where we have 3 players who are neutral against us, they aren't necessarily aiming to get us out of the game as quickly as possible, and they're not really helping us either. I don't necessarily like changing that balance, that status quo, until it becomes apparent that it needs to change. So for now, we could attack for 1 damage, but it doesn't really serve us all that much good to do that attack because we're each of the players. So let me go ahead and show you our life totals here. So you see, we start out with 40 life, so I'd have to attack 120 times with Dragon Master Outcast to be able to take them all down. And so there's just not too much point in doing it right now. When it gets down to the wire, when it gets later in the game, it'll be worth it to go ahead and attack if there is an opening to attack. But for now, I just go ahead and pass. We don't have anything else that we want to do right now. And let us see about the demons. We really are looking for that 5th mana if we can. So we have 4 in hand. So, oh, there you go. There's our 5th mana. Let's go ahead and play that. It's another come into play tapped land that can be discarded to draw an extra card. We don't really want to do that, but that's what we're going to do. And I think because we have an opening here, and I don't like wasting mana too much if we can't help it, I'm going to go ahead and play this enchantment called Blood Chief Ascension. So it's one black to play. It's an enchantment. The line right here says it's an enchantment. And then it has, at the beginning of each end step, if an opponent lost 2 or more life this turn, you may put a quest counter on Blood Chief Ascension. Then, whenever a card is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, if Blood Chief Ascension has 3 or more quest counters on it, you may have that player lose 2 life. If you do, gain 2 life. So essentially what we're going to do is, the more people, our opponents, lose life, the more counters we are going to... the more counters that'll get put on Blood Chief Ascension, and then as we kill more of their cards, for instance, say with Villa's Broker of Blood, the more damage they'll take. They'll start taking damage for losing their cards to the graveyard. So it's good to go ahead and get it out now while we can, and maybe we can take advantage of that as other people attack and as other people do things. That's all we can do for the turn, though, so we will move on to the Angels, and they will untap, upkeep, draw. So that is another Plains. We're kind of wanting to draw creatures and not more land at this point, but that's okay. We will play a plains and then pass the turn because we don't have anything else. We have a 3-cost card in our hand, so next turn we will play a card. But for now, we don't have anything else that we can do. So, going on to Sphinxes. Let's see. We will untap, upkeep, draw. And there's another Sphinx that's really cool. So, let's see. Let's go ahead and play another island. Then we will tap for 2 blue mana and play a silver mirror. So I guess I didn't go too much into depth here with the lands and tapping. The way this works is essentially when a resource that you have, a creature or a land or an artifact or an enchantment, a lot of times they will either have a tap symbol on them. Like, let's go ahead and do this. I can show you this silver mirror real quick. There you go. You see, so in its rules text, there at the kind of lower half of the card, you see an arrow that's turning to the side, and then add a blue mana symbol. So essentially, this creature says exhaust its energy for this round of turns in order to add a blue mana to your mana pool. And all lands essentially have the same thing. And in fact, this you can kind of see. It's a bit fuzzy. Let's see if we can get it. There you go. It says that it has that T symbol, so that's one of the old symbols that they used on cards. So you essentially that tap means exhaust your resources to do a thing, and in this case, the lands are exhausting their energy for the round of turns in order to produce a blue mana that we can use to cast things. And that's why when we go to the beginning of our turn, we have untap, where the untap phase, all you do is just untap everything that you have that is tapped. So let's go ahead and see that in action over with the dragons. The dragons have 2 mountains tapped right over here. And they're going to, we'll start our turn by untap. And then during our upkeep phase is kind of like, to get a little bit more into that, upkeep is sort of a cleanup, is almost like a cleanup steps. Some things you want to have happen at the very beginning of the turn before anything else can. And because of the way the rules are written, the untap step happens first, so nothing else can happen. Essentially, nothing else happens before that. But then during your upkeep, essentially before the turn really begins at all, you can have effects happen. And so some of the decks have those kinds of things, some upkeep stuff. A lot of them don't. So we won't see too much during that step. We will see on other during my Wednesday and Thursday, we may see a lot more. But for now, this is probably going to be the case for the most part. Sorry, just drinking some tea. Okay, let's go ahead and draw for the turn. And we have Arcwing Dragon. Perfect. That's going to be really, really good. Especially with our Sunbird Invocation that we have in hand. And also Lathless. And that's because this dragon, it's a low-cost dragon that has haste. So it can attack the turn it comes out. But in addition to that, not only does it have haste, but it returns itself to our hand. And normally that would be a downside. But whenever we have a dragon that wants dragons to come into play, we can basically use that to be like, okay, I play this dragon, and the next turn we're guaranteed to play another dragon because we will always have this Arcwing Dragon in our hand. So let's go and play another mountain. And in this case, I think that, well, let me think about this. We could play the Hammer of Perforos, but I'm wondering if maybe, I guess, yeah, let's go ahead and do the Hammer of Perforos. So we will go ahead and play that. That means all of our creatures will have haste. And so when we do get another dragon out, then it will definitely have haste. But we'll save the Arcwing Dragon to play next turn in case we don't have anything else to do. We could also consider doing our draw effect next turn, but we'll just have to wait and see. So let's go ahead and pass to the Demon deck and see what kind of mischief they can get into. So we will untap, upkeep, and draw a card. And we have, oh, a swamp. Perfect. This is what we were looking for, because that means that we can now, once we get up to the amount of mana, we can both play the demon that's in our hand and this Liliana's Contract. So we will play another swamp, and then I think that's probably it, actually. We're going to, oh wait, I guess we did, that Polluted Mire was the 5th land. Okay, so we are starting to slowly get closer to being able to cast Phyllis, but that'll come later, so we will pass the turn for now and move on to the Angels. And so you can kind of see that these turns are a little bit slow. There's not a lot happening in each turn, and that's because there are these big tribes. And sort of the idea, let's go ahead and untap, upkeep, draw a card. Endless Atlas. That's really good. I really like this card. Okay, so big tribes are going to take a lot of time getting stuff out, but the stuff that they get out is going to be really strong. Versus the small tribes, when I play those small tribes, they have a lot of little creatures and they get a bunch of them out fast, but they're also really weak. They don't have a lot of power and toughness. We keep talking about, like, Phyllis is an 8/8, Lathless is a 6/6. You know, like, those are big creatures, and they take a lot to get out because they cost so much, but that's okay for it to cost that much. You know, like, it's okay that it takes a little bit to get them out, because they're basically that single creature will be able to deal as much damage as a bunch of little ones, is what I'm trying to get at. So let's go ahead and play a Plains. We will pay 3 mana, and we're going to go ahead and cast this Spear of Heliod. So next turn, I'm going to play this Endless Atlas, and we'll see what it does. And that's because this next turn will have the mana that we need to play it and activate its ability, versus Spear of Heliod. We can't really do both Spear and Atlas at the same time. We're not going to be able to activate Spear until next turn anyway, so I think it's okay to go ahead and get it out now. And we'll see what we have when we draw next turn. So let's go and back over to Sphinxes. We'll untap, upkeep, draw a card, and we have Dissipate, another counterspell. So that's not too bad. Let's go ahead and play our 3rd island, and then we will go ahead and tap 3, tap the Silver Mirror for 1 mana to cast Conundrum Sphinx. So Conundrum Sphinx is a 4-cost 4/4 Sphinx with flying, and whenever it attacks, each player names a card. Then each player reveals the top card of their library. If the card the player revealed is the card he or she named, that player puts it into his or her hand. If not, the player puts it on the bottom of their library. So this is going to be essentially a chance for us to draw extra cards. Now everybody will get the chance to draw extra cards, but we are also dealing 4 damage whenever we attack with it. So hopefully that's okay. It's a low-cost creature. I say 4 is a lower cost compared to the rest of the cards and the rest of the Sphinxes in our deck. Okay, so let's untap for the dragons, upkeep, and draw a card. So our upkeep, we do have an upkeep here at some point, but we need 6 or more lands, so it's going to take a little bit. So we draw a card for the turn, and it is Dragon Roost. Okay, so here we go. I think that in this is our opportunity to go ahead and use Honor of the God Pharaoh, because we have 2 cards that are really, really good. Dragon Roost can be a good card, but its ability costs even more. So it's a 6-cost enchantment with an ability that requires 7 mana. We're not that close. So we're going to go ahead and take advantage of this opportunity to pay 3 mana and cast Honor the God Pharaoh. So it's a sorcery that costs 2 colorless and 1 red. As an additional cost to cast this card, discard a card. So we are going to discard the Dragon Roost because we really need to try to hit that land. So now we draw 2 cards. So the effect of Honor of the God Pharaoh is that we draw 2 cards. So another land, perfect. And this Dragon Lord a Servant, which makes our dragon spells cost 1 less. So that's really good. And then we also get a little, we get this final ability which says Amass 1. So amass means that we put a +1/+1 counter on an army we control, and if we don't have an army, then we create a 0/0 black zombie army creature token first. So let's go ahead. I don't have a zombie army, so we're going to have to give ourselves one. There's not too many of these cards in here. And it was kind of necessary based on Red's draw capabilities. I needed to put something like this in here. So we have a 0/0 zombie army. And we need a +1/+1 counter. So let's go ahead and do that. Now we have a little guy to help us out. And since we did draw a land, let's go ahead and put Valakut the Molten Pinnacle into play tapped. And unfortunately, we can't play the Dragon Lord's Servant that we have, but maybe we will next turn. So it kind of depends on what else we get. For now, we're just going to... Ooh, well, we could attack now. That is a good 2 damage. It might be about time now that we've waited long enough that we might want to attack. So I think in this case, knowing that the angels are looking like they're going to be focused on life gain, we're going to go and deal 2 damage to them now. Sort of hoping to start with an edge on them. So there we go. We have our angels at 38 and then everybody else at 40. So after that, I will pass the turn, and the zombie army could attack this turn because of our convenient hammer, hammering in that we can go fast. Okay, demons again. We will untap, upkeep, draw a card. Demon of Dark Schemes. Nice. So yeah, this is a 5/5 6-cost demon. So we actually do have enough mana to be able to cast it when we want to. For now, we will play a swamp. So the other things that it does is it's a 5/5 flying dragon, and when it enters the battlefield, all other creatures get -2/-2 until end of turn. So this is going to be really good a little bit later on to kind of clean up some of these. We have 3 different creatures that will be killed by this effect, so we're actually not too far from being able to do that. For now, let's go ahead and pass the turn. And we're getting back to the angels. Let's see, untap, upkeep, draw a card, and we have another plane. So we're really wanting to get past these planes here if we can. So let's go ahead and pay 2 mana to cast Endless Atlas, and it is a 2-cost artifact with pay 2 mana, tap it to draw a card. Activate this ability only if you control 3 or more lands with the same name. Let's go ahead and do it. We're going to activate it. We have 4 planes, so we meet the requirements for the ability, and we're going to draw another land. Yeah, we're definitely going to want to get through these lands as quickly as we can. So let us pass the turn and go to the Sphinxes. So, oh yeah, we did miss out here. We meant to do an activation. The Blood Chief Ascension got a +1/+1, or it got a charge counter, request counter because the Dragon Deck dealt 2 damage. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on that, and maybe the demons need to get attacked first. So let's untap for the turn, draw a card, and it is Snap. Return target creature to its owner's hand, untap 2 lands. That's not too bad. Let's see. Let's go and play this last land. And, there is a number of things that we could do. Let's go ahead and do this instead. We are going to go ahead and go to attack. And so after your main phase, where you get to play whatever you want, we go into the combat step, or the combat phase. So we will declare Conundrum Sphinx as an attacker against the demons. So whenever Conundrum Sphinx attacks, Each player names a card. So for the Sphinxes, we're going to name Island. And the reason I'm naming Island is because there is a ton of islands in the deck, and there's a ton of basic lands in each of these decks. It's the most prolific card in the deck. So if you don't already know what your next card is going to be, it's safe to that's probably a good safe bet to make. So we're going to name Island, and it is an island, so we're going to go ahead and draw it instead of putting it on the bottom of our library. So for each of the other ones, that's exactly what we're going to do. The dragons are going to name Mountain, and it wasn't a mountain. It was a land, but it wasn't a mountain. So we put that on the bottom of our library. The demons are going to do the same, and it's a swamp, so they're going to go and draw it. And the angels are going to name Plains, and it wasn't a plane. Unfortunately, this was actually a really good card, so it's now going to the bottom of our library. That's really unfortunate. So let's go and do that. And now the demon deck is going to take 4 damage because they don't have anything to stop the Conundrum Sphinx. So the demons are down to 36 life. So what else can we do? In this case, I think that we're just going to hold off. We have some counter spells. We have some tempo plays. I think we're just going to wait and see if we can just hold out for now. So the dragon deck is going to go. The dragons are going to untap, upkeep, draw a card, and it is Opportunistic Dragon. Interesting. So in this case, we have 5 mana here. We really need to get to that 6 mana to cast some of the other cards in our hand. We won't be able to cast these 2, but we will be able to cast Lathless, and we can start setting up that with Arcwing Dragon. So in order to do that, let's go ahead and pay 2 mana, and we will cast Dragon Lord's Servant. So with the Sphinx deck, we have to take that into consideration and think about what Dragon Lord's Servant really does and if we want to counter it or stop it. Now the thing is that with counter spells, it only kills off 1 card, generally speaking. It's 1 card for 1 card. So is Dragon Lord's Servant really doing a lot? All it's really doing is reducing the cost of the spells that we have. So it's probably smarter to, instead of getting rid of it and making it harder for them to cast the creatures, we actually wait for them to cast creatures and counterspell those ones. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to wait on whatever might be coming up next. And in this case, it's going to be 3 mana in order to cast Opportunistic Dragon. And Opportunistic Dragon is a 4-cost 4/3 creature. When it enters the battlefield, choose target human or artifact an opponent controls. For as long as Opportunistic Dragon remains on the battlefield, gain control of that permanent. It loses all abilities, and it can't attack or block. So before that enters the battlefield, gain control of something, we have to take stock of what the dragons might want. They didn't play Lathless this turn because they didn't draw a land. So there is a possibility that they could steal our Silver Mirror. But if they stole it, it loses all abilities, so they wouldn't be able to actually use it. So what could they possibly steal? And it looks like we just have Endless Atlas over with the Angels, as well as the Spear of Heliod. So it seems to me like they're more likely to steal one of those other cards, and that they're really just gunning for us, the Sphinxes. We're talking as the Sphinxes here. They could steal our Silver Mirror, which would be unfortunate, but we could return it back with one of the spells that we have. So we're not like too concerned with them stealing it. It would be annoying to have to use one of our cards to get back one of our creatures, but that would be okay. We really want to... I think what we'd want to do is cross our fingers and hope that the Dragon deck steals something from the Angels. And in this case, looking at the stuff that's out, the one card that could be really damaging to us later on is that Spear of Heliod. I mean, if we could steal the Endless Atlas and it would retain all of its abilities, we would absolutely take that one. But in this case, the Spear of Heliod can be used to kill our dragons, and I don't really like that thought. So we're going to go ahead and take the Spear of Heliod. And so as long as we control Opportunistic Dragon, we have control of the Spear of Heliod, and they can't do anything about it. Okay. So now we have... What else could we do in a turn? And I feel like... This is a tough choice to attack or not to attack. Well, I guess we do have haste, so we do need to take that into consideration. And maybe... At this point, maybe we do 3 damage over to the Demon Deck and 4 damage over to the Sphinxes. And that's how we'll do it. So that way we're spreading out the damage and the Angels aren't getting the brunt of it again. Because the Angels lost 2 life this turn. So let's go ahead and show the life totals. And the Demons are taking 3 damage. And the Sphinxes are taking 4 damage. There you go. So, that looks pretty even. Unfortunately, at this point, it means that at the end of the turn, Blood Chief Ascension is going to get another quest counter on it. So we really have to be careful. We can't do much more because Blood Chief Ascension could start wrecking people too soon. So let's see. Let's go ahead and draw a card for the turn, and it is a swamp. So we're actually, I think we're almost to being able to play Villas. We do have, so in 4 turns we will be able to play Villas for sure. So this turn, let's go ahead and play a swamp. Then we will pay 5 mana and cast Indulgent Tormentor. So, Indulgent Tormentor is a 5-cost 5/3 with flying. He's a demon. And at the beginning of your upkeep, draw a card unless target opponent sacrifices a creature or pays 3 life. So here, I think this is where the Sphinx deck is going to say, okay, hold on a second. I don't really like what you're doing, and I think that you should not do that thing. Because the Indulgent Tormentor is going to play really well into the Blood Chief Ascension. It's going to basically either you pay 3 life and put a counter on Blood Chief Ascension, or you sacrifice one of your creatures. And that's going to be really tough later on. We don't really want that, so we're going to go ahead and let's do Dream Fracture from the Sphinx's hand here. So Dream Fracture costs 3 mana, is instant speed, it has counter target spell, its controller draws a card, then I control a card. So the Sphinx deck is going to draw a card, and that card is an island, so that's not too bad. We were looking for another island. And the Demon deck is going to draw Ritual of Soot. So it's a sorcery with destroy all creatures with converted mana cost 3 or less. So again, not a shabby one to have on hand. But now we also don't have any creatures out, so we can get attacked easily during this next round of turns. So we are going to pass back over to the Angel deck. And the Angels are going to untap, upkeep, draw a card, and it is Aetherflux Reservoir. That's a really good artifact. We'll see it. We'll get there. We're not going to get there quite yet, but we will get there. We're going to hold it in our hand, pretend that we don't know that it's there. So we played in other planes. Let's go ahead and, well, let's do these other 2 over here. Convenient. So 2 mana, tap for Endless Atlas to draw a card. There's another planes, so we're still on the plane train, and we're going to pass the turn. This is where that Resplendent Angel that we put on the bottom of our library would have come in real handy. And unfortunately, Conundrum Sphinx is going to do it again this turn, I have a feeling. So untap, upkeep, draw a card, and it is an island. So we are now at the spot where we can start playing some of our Sphinxes in hand. Let's go ahead and pay 5 mana, 6 mana. Let's get Unesh out. So that is the first commander to come out, actually. So we have Unesh, and whenever it or another Sphinx enters the battlefield under your control, then you can reveal the top 4 cards of your library. An opponent chooses, let's see, reveal the top 4. An opponent separates those cards into 2 piles, and then I get to put 1 pile into my hand and the other into my graveyard. Let's go ahead and choose Angels, because we haven't done anything to Angels yet. We are probably going to do something to Dragons, or at least consider doing something to Dragons. For now, we are just going to say, the Angels, please separate these 4 cards. So we have Saheeli's, we have an island, and we have Saheeli's Artistry, which can create a copy of an artifact, and also, if we want, create a copy of a creature, except it's an artifact in addition to its other types. Then we have Quicksilver Gargantuan, which is a 7-cost, 7/7 creature that comes into play as a copy of something else. And then Guardian of Tazim is a 5-cost, 4/5 Sphinx with whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, tap target creature an opponent controls. If that land is an island, that creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. So looking at these, if I was the Angel, my conundrum here is that these are 2 really high costing cards, and Guardian of Tazim has a really good ability. These just make copies of things that are already there. Guardian of Tazim is a really good card that they would want to make copies of. So in this case, what I would probably do is I would separate it like this, so that they can't get the copy effects and the Guardian of Tazim. They already have a bunch of lands. We know that they revealed the top card of their library and it was a land. So we know they already have lands. They're not dark. They may be flush with them for all we know. So giving them more lands doesn't really hurt us because they're going to get there anyway. And Guardian of Tazim is a pretty good card. So the question is whether they have good cards in their hand that they're willing to take the copy effects to make copies of things, or if they're going to take Guardian of Tazim to be able to start using its effect and tapping down things, which we kind of want them to do, but we don't want them to do it against us. This, of course, speaking from the Angels. So when we look at the Sphinxes, we would like the copy effects, but unfortunately, it's kind of looking like I think we want the Guardian of Tazim right now, actually. So, unfortunately, we're going to go ahead and get rid of the copy effects, and we're going to take these into our hand. And now we have 8 cards in hand. So our question is, do we want to attack this turn? And I think because we don't necessarily want to just... This is kind of a conundrum, because we don't want to attack the Dragons or Angels. The Dragons are really who we want to attack, because they just dealt us damage. We want to deal that damage back. But unfortunately, that means that Bloodchief Ascension would certainly get powered up. So we could attack the Demon deck, but then we would also be kind of left a little vulnerable, and being able to block Opportunistic Dragon with our Conundrum Dragon might be a good idea. So I think we're going to go ahead and pass this turn, and we'll players, if they have more than 7 cards in the hand, they have to discard down to 7. So we had 8, we have to discard 1. We want all the rest of the cards in our hand. We have multiple lands. We're going to draw into more lands. So I'm not too concerned about getting rid of a land here. And after that, we will just play defense this one turn and then see what happens in the next turn. So we're gotten over to here. Untap all of this. Upkeep, draw a card. And what do we draw? It is Semblance Anvil. Interesting. So we could use Semblance Anvil to reduce the cost of dragons even further. But for now, I think that we want to hold off on that. I think we really want to hold off on all the cards that we have in our hand. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get out our Commander Lathless Dragon Queen. And now we'll be cooking. Now we have the big boys. So now that we have this big card, this big dragon, we can definitely pile into somebody if we really want to. And I'm thinking that maybe we wouldn't be able to attack the Sphinx deck with Opportunistic Dragon without almost certainly losing it. So we could decide to go ahead and attack the Demon deck with the Opportunistic Dragon. But as much as the Sphinx deck may be hesitant to allow the Bloodchief Ascension to get to the next counter, I'm not as concerned with it because I have so much firepower. I would actually like and want to encourage people to take extra damage where possible so that it's easier for my dragons to take them out. I'm thinking that that actually is going to play into our hand a little bit. So let's go ahead and, because I think Bloodchief Ascension, yeah, it happens whenever a card goes anywhere, from anywhere into the graveyard. So if the Sphinx deck draws too many cards and has to discard something, that actually helps us. And not only that, but Unesh's ability itself is really dangerous. So I think that we actually are going to do this. We're going to just threaten to activate the Bloodchief Ascension. We'll do the Opportunistic Dragon against the demons. So the demons are going to take 4 damage no matter what. And now the Sphinx deck, it has a 6/6 coming at them. They're going to have to choose whether to lose a Sphinx to prevent the Bloodchief Ascension, or if they're going to let the Bloodchief Ascension trigger. And in this case, I think that they go ahead and block with the Conundrum Sphinx to be able to stop the damage. Oh, we're still... Oh, wait, no, we're not. So after that, that is how our life totals look. So that's not too bad. The demons are a little bit lower, but when you have Bloodchief Ascension out, you can kind of expect that that's going to happen. Okay, so that's it for the turn. For the dragon's turn, we're going to pass over to the demons and see what the demons are going to do now. So untap, upkeep, draw a card, and we have Archfiend Ifnir. That's what I should say. Sorry. It has flying. It's a 5-cost 5/4 dragon with flying, and whenever you cycle or discard another card, put a -1/-1 counter on each creature your opponents control. That's really good. I quite like that. And so we're going to play a swamp, and the thing here is that we already we're kind of looking across the board. We see that the Sphinxes don't have the mana to be able to stop us. That's important. We don't want the demon or the Sphinxes to stop us from doing this. We're going to go ahead and pay 6 mana, and we're going to cast Demon of Dark Schemes. So each creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. And then whenever another creature dies, we get an energy counter. So let's see here. If we look, there's only 3 creatures are going to get killed. We have the zombie army that is a 1/1, so they're going to die. We also have Dragon Master Outcast, which is a 1/1, so it will die. And then the Silver Mirror over on the Sphinxes is a 1/1, so it will die as well. So we are going to get 3 energy counters. And let me go ahead and switch this over to energy. And the cool thing about the Demon of Dark Schemes, actually, what is that symbol? I'm drawing something real quick. Well, sort of quick. I'm being slow. Okay, there we go. So we get 3 energy. And Demon of Dark Schemes has pay 3 mana, 2 colorless, 1 black, and 4 energy. Put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. So we're almost to where the point where we can activate Demon of Dark Schemes ability and be able to return something like, I don't know, Indulgent Tormentor, or if we kill somebody's really big creature, we could steal that creature after it goes to the graveyard. So we're really, really set up pretty good here now that we have a dragon out. Now that we finally maybe got back into the game. So we're going to pass the turn after that. We don't have anything else that we can do. Just on to the Angels, who have been extraordinarily slow. They have not played a whole lot. Let's go ahead and untap, upkeep, draw a card. It is another Plains. So let's go and play that Plains. And we really need to get some defense out there of some kind. So we're going to go ahead and play our commander, Regna the Redeemer. And I wonder, let's see. So the Dragons have played their commander, and now the Angels. So the only player that hasn't played their commander yet is the Demons. And they're getting there. They're pretty close. 2 turns. 2 more turns and we'll get Phyllis out. Okay. So, what else can we do? I don't think there's anything else. We really would have liked to be able to activate Endless Atlas this turn to keep trying to get through our Plains, but we're just going to have to hold off for now. So, let's untap, upkeep, and draw a card. And we have Horizon Scholar. So, 6 cost Horizon Scholar Sphinx that has flying, and it's a 4/4, and when it enters the battlefield, we get to scry 2. So scrying just means that we look at whatever the number of scry is, we look at the top if it's 2, so we'll look at the top 2 cards of our library, and then we can decide to leave them on the top of the library in any order that we want, or we can what was it? Sorry. Or we can put those cards on the bottom of our library in any order. Okay, so on our main phase, let's go ahead and play another island. Actually, no, we're not going to play an island now. We're going to pay 5, and we're going to play the Guardian of Tazim, the one that we just got. So in this case, we had another Sphinx enter the battlefield. So let's look at the top 4 cards of our library. Let's just choose Angels again. We still haven't really run into any problems with the Angels. So the Angels get to choose out of Counterspell, Island, Spark Double, and Dance of Many. So what we're looking at is we're looking at another Counterspell, we're looking at an Island, and we're looking at 2 copy effects. So if I'm the Angels and I'm looking at this, I'm thinking at this point, they're almost certainly going to take the copy effects, and we probably don't want them to have it. So I think that what we do is we need to decide which of the copy effects is the better one, and maybe we should look and see which one is the worst one, and then put the worst one with the counterspell, because we don't want them to both have a really good copy effect and the ability to counter a spell. So in this case, I think that Spark Double is probably the better one, mainly because Dance of the Many, while it costs so little mana to play, it requires an upkeep cost. So they have to keep paying a cost to keep that copy effect out. So I think that in this case, that's what the choice that I would make as far as the Angels are concerned. That's the split that I would do. So now, based on the Sphinx deck, let me think what we want. I think that we're going to take the better. I think that I don't really want to keep paying a cost, so we're going to get rid of those two. And we already have we still have a counterspell in our hand. So let's go ahead and play an island now. And then, because we played an island, Guardian of Tazim's ability triggers. We get to tap a creature an opponent controls. And then, since this is an island, that creature won't untap during their controller's next untap step. So I think that... Oh, wait, it costs 2 less. So we actually only had to pay 3 mana. So we have 3 untapped mana here. That's really good. I briefly forgot about Unesh's ability to reduce the cost of Sphinx cards. So, let's see. We could tap down Lathless to keep it from attacking, or we could tap down the demon over there. And I'm wondering, because essentially we can't attack the angels or the dragons this turn. We're going to have to discard a card, and we don't want to lose the life. I mean, we essentially don't want to anyway. But if we tap down the demon so that we can at least get some damage in with Unesh, then we'll be open to Lathless attacking us next turn. And I mean, I think, well, they still have haste anyway, so it's almost certainly they're going to be able to get in some amount of damage on us. So maybe well, I guess we don't really want any more damage than we can possibly take. So maybe we go ahead and keep... So Lathless is going to be tapped and stay tapped their next turn, and we have to discard a card for the turn because we have 8 cards in hand. We're not going to make any attacks. We're just going to move on. And that's all we're going to do this turn. Next turn, we will play a clone effect on the Guardian of Tazim and be able to tap down 2 creatures in a single turn. Okay, so untap and Lathless stays tapped. So we'll do this. And we will draw a card for the turn. So we are drawing Skyline Despot. Huh. Interesting. Okay. I am thinking that we want to go ahead and do Arcwing Dragon this turn. So let's go ahead and tap 3 mana and attempt to cast Arcwing Dragon. And this is where counterspells come in really, really handy. So we are going to go ahead and cast, as the Sphinx deck, we're going to cast Dissipate on Arcwing Dragon. And we're doing that because we know that Arcwing Dragon is going to bounce every turn and get them a free dragon card. And if we put a stop to it now, then they won't be able to continue to do it. And the ability only activates when Lathless's ability to create dragons only activates when the creature actually enters the battlefield. Counterspells get rid of it before they enter the battlefield. So Dissipate actually removes it from the game. So Arcwing Dragon will never come back. It's always going to be disappeared. And in that case, we actually don't really have an attack that we can reasonably make, because Opportunistic Dragon was the only thing that we could really do where we could, is the only creature that we really have to be able to attack. And unfortunately, with it only being 4 power, we can't get through really any of the opposing player's creatures to deal damage. So we're actually going to have to hold off this turn and just say, well, maybe next turn. Maybe next turn we will draw a mountain, and with that mountain we'll be able to play the other dragon that's in our hand. So from now we're going to pass, and so the demons are going to untap, upkeep, draw a card, and it is a swamp, so that's not too bad. We will put it into our hand, and let's see, so... I'm wondering about what we want to do. We're 1 mana off from Villas. So maybe we hold off on the 2 cards that we have here, Liliana's Contract and Soul Channeling. but let's see. That Guardian of Tazim is a problem, but we will be able to get rid of it, I would think. Let's see. So, with the cards that are in our deck, we'll have something that we can use to kill it. So I think for now... We're not going to be able to destroy too much with Ritual of Suit. But we could use it to arguably get the Indulgent Tormentor back this turn. We could do that. The Indulgent Tormentor is pretty good for us. Let's go ahead and do... Actually, let's go ahead and do that. We're going to take a chance here. It would be nice to have been able to play Vilis this turn while the Sphinx deck is tapped out. But for now, I think we're going to go ahead and pay 4 mana. We're going to play Ritual of Soot. So destroy all creatures with converted mana cost 3 or less. So converted mana cost is just, like this Demon Dark Schemes costs 3 colorless and 3 black mana. So its converted mana cost is 3 plus 3, so 6. Dragonlord Servant is the only creature out that is converted mana cost 3 or less. So 1 creature dies. It puts our energy up to 4. And now we can pay 3 mana with Demon of Dark Schemes. We can pay 4 energy and then bring back a creature from a graveyard. So we are going to go ahead and bring back Indulgent Tormentor. Actually... yeah, I think we want to do that. There could be other creatures in other graveyards, but for now, Indulgent Tormentor plays so well into Bloodchief Ascension that it's worth the effort to do that right now. We can always get other creatures later. I'm sure there is that copy effect in who actually that's. Well, Lathless, though, I guess, I don't know. I guess we actually could do this, so we're going to hold off on that. We're going to do a different creature, a creature that we remembered is over here in this graveyard, and that graveyard is, because it is from a graveyard, so we are going to actually get a Quicksilver Gargantuan into play, which comes into the copy of any creature on the battlefield except it's a 7/7. So we could get Lathless, but we don't have any other dragons in our deck. So the most likely source is actually making it a copy of Demon of Dark Schemes, so that now we have a flying 7/7. So these two are kind of like they're together, so that we remember what the Quicksilver Gargantuan has become. Oh, that's deliciously evil. Okay, so with that being said, we have to decide whether we want to attack or if we want to hold off. And I'm thinking that because of the because of the Guardian of Tazim being able to tap down stuff, we really want to attack this turn. So the question is, who do we attack? Who's less likely to block? When we look over at the Angels, they haven't really done anything all game, and I would guess that playing their commander is sort of an act of desperation to just have something out, so they're almost certainly going to block. Especially because their 1/1 creatures aren't doing them any good as long as the Spear of Heliod is taken up. So we look over at the Sphinx deck, and there is some chance that they won't block here. Let me think. But ultimately, we're looking over at this dragon deck. I don't think that they really want to give up the Spear of Heliod, because the Spear of Heliod really is doing a lot. Now, that being said, they could just get rid of the Opportunistic Dragon. They could allow the Spear of Heliod to go, just so that the white deck can be able to start taking out creatures. but yeah, let me think about it. I think I'm going to go ahead and attack the Sphinx deck with our 5/5 Demon of Dark Schemes. Now, that being said, well, let's hold off. So, they could double block. I would get rid of the Guardian of Tazim, but they would get rid of my Demon of Dark Schemes for sure. So, let's go ahead and attack the dragons for 5 damage and see what they do, because they only have one blocker, the Opportunistic Dragon. So, as the dragon deck, would I want to... Oh, wait, no. -2, -2. Oh, wait, no. So the Sphinxes actually... Ooh, interesting. So, sorry, because Gargantuan came to play, it gave everything -2, -2. So the Sphinxes actually can't double block and kill the Demon of Dark Schemes. They would have to have more... They would have to have another creature, or they would have to have some way to buff one of their creatures, and they don't have that. So, yeah, our 5 damage actually would be able to not only kill both of their creatures if they try to double block, but their double block wouldn't be able to stop us. So, I think in this case, yeah, I think it's smarter to go ahead and attack the Sphinxes now. And I think in that case, the Sphinxes are not going to block, because we want both our commander and Guardian of Tazim. So we're going to take 5 damage. And that means that at this point, the Bloodchief Ascension is now online. So any card that goes into the graveyard that an opponent has go into their graveyard, they lose 2 life and the demons gain 2 life. So it's on. So let's go ahead and pass back over to the Angels. And the Angels are going to untap, upkeep, draw a card. And it is Herald of War, a 5-cost 3/3 angel with flying. Whenever it attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on it. And then angel spells and human spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each +1/+1 counter on Herald of War. That's pretty nice. I think I actually kind of want that. So let's go ahead. And if we do it this way, so we play a land, we play Herald of War, and then we can tap 2 mana to activate Endless Atlas and draw a card. And the card we're going to draw with it is another land. Sooner or later, we are not going to draw lands, I swear. Although, if we did draw Emiria, there is one land in our deck that, at this point, now would go crazy because of the amount of planes that we have. So, do we attack here or do we hold off? Well, we can't attack the demons. They have... Well, our 4/4 is not going to do so well against the 7/7 that they have. The Sphinxes, they can block with Guardian of Tazim, and the Opportunistic Dragon could arguably kill our Regna, but we would get Spear of Heliod back. So maybe that's actually worth it. Let's go ahead and attack. This is really odd, but we're going to go ahead and attack the dragons. And I think the dragons, since they're at 40 life, they're just going to go and take it. They'll be at 36. They don't really want to give up the Spear of Heliod quite yet. So we will pass the turn now that the Angels have successfully done that. Hopefully we'll see some life gain from the Angels. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. So, Sphinx time. Untap. Draw a card. We have Prognostic Sphinx, which we almost certainly won't use the ability of, because the ability is discarding a card, and that would be bad. Okay, so let's do... We will tap 4 mana to play Spark Double as a copy of Guardian of Tazim, and it enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter. So, let's see, we will get a +1/+1 counter there, and it is a copy of Guardian of Tazim, so we will play an island, and now we get 2 effect. Well, actually, before that happens, we need to do Spark Doubles, or we need to do Unesh's effect, which I think it is not a May. We have to do it. So we are going to take some damage here, but that's okay. We're going to try to make up for it. So we have Into the Void and 3 islands. It doesn't really matter who we choose here. Most likely what somebody's going to do is these 2 piles. And I think that in this case, well, we're still going to take almost certainly going to take a bunch of damage. So, ouch, this is... Actually, let's go ahead and take the islands. So that's going to go into the graveyard. We are going to lose 2 life, and the demons are going to gain 2 life. So the Sphinxes are down to 29, and the demons are to 31. So we will play an island now. So we get to tap 2 creatures down and keep them tapped. So we are actually going to keep... I think we're going to do something... Let's see. Let's do... We are going to keep Lathless tapped and the Demon of... what is it? Dark Schemes tapped. So the original one. So then after we do that, we're going to pay 2 mana and cast Snap. So return target creature to its owner's hand, untap 2 lands. So we will untap the lands that we use to cast Snap and return the Gargantuan to our hand. So now we can get another copy of Guardian of Tazim, and we can keep tapping stuff down. So since that's occurred, we can go to attacks, and I think that we're going to go ahead and just attack into the demon deck for 8 damage. So the demon, let's go ahead and take a look at life totals now, and the demons are going to take 8 damage here. So they are at 23, Sphinx is at 29, dragons are at 36, and angels at 38. So we really have to get rid of those demons because we're going to keep doing this draw effect and do stuff thing over and over, and we can't just keep taking a bunch of damage from that. In fact, we're going to have to discard a card this turn. So I think that, let's see, I think that we actually discard the Prognostic Sphinx because we have 7 cards in hand. And that means that we are at 27 and the demons are at 25. See how quickly that just starts adding up? That's not good for us. That's not good for anybody except for the demon deck. So dragons get to go. Their Opportunistic Dragon is untapped, but the Lathless card was super tapped, so now it's just regular tapped. Okay, untap, upkeep, draw a card. It is Voracious Dragon. So we're still not really at the land that we need, and I think that what we do this turn is we're going to pay 4 mana and cast Semblance Anvil. So Semblance Anvil, the question is, we don't know if the Sphinxes would counterspell it. It doesn't seem like they are. So, and we know that because we're playing the Sphinx deck and we know that they don't have any counterspells, they just have Repulse. Okay, so when Semblance Anvil enters the battlefield, we can exile a non-land card from our hand. So we're going to exile Voracious Dragon. We're going to put it under Semblance Anvil so we remember. And now, spells you cast that share a card type with the exiled card cost 2 less to cast. So next turn we will be able to play this big dragon card for sure. So for now, we just have Opportunistic Dragon to attack, and I think that, so we could attack the angels, but that doesn't really serve us too much. The Sphinxes are really low, but so are the demons, and Vilis is about to come out. Vilis could really wreck our plans if it goes on too long, but Sphinxes have a lot of creatures. Now, that being said, Sphinx does have a blocker this turn, so That's kind of rough. Let's go ahead and do Opportunistic Dragon. We will attack the demon deck for 4 damage and take them down to 21. So hopefully this will help the feud between the demons and the Sphinxes. And we'll see it from there. We will get Skyline Despot out next turn. So the demons are going to get to go. They untap, upkeep. Oh wait, this doesn't untap because of the Guardian of Tazim's ability. We will draw a card for the turn. Cabal Ritual. Huh. Interesting. Okay, so let's go ahead and play a swamp. Then we will... Yeah, we're absolutely going to try to. We have to try to. So we're going to try to cast Villas, Broker of Blood. Does it come out? Does it stay out? And I think that it does. So the blue deck is not going to counterspell. We weren't really sure if that was going to be the case or not. So it's good to find out that Broker of Blood is going to stay out. Unfortunately, that's all we can do, and maybe Villas will be able to do its effect next turn. It just won't be able to attack, which is unfortunate. So the Angels are going to go untap, upkeep, draw a card, and we have Angelic Field Marshal. Awesome. That's actually really, really good. So let's go and play a Plains for the turn, and we will, well, first, let's go ahead and use Endless Atlas and see what we draw. So we drew Smothering Tithe. Well, I don't know. I think we want to play Angelic Field Marshal. Let's go ahead and do that. Angelic Field Marshal is a 4-cost 3/3 angel with Lieutenant. As long as you control your commander, Angelic Field Marshal gets +2/+2, and creatures you control have Vigilance. So Vigilance just means that whenever we attack, we don't tap for it. So let's see. We definitely want to attack because we want to get Herald of War up as much as we can. So, because it gains a counter every time it attacks, so it just keeps getting stronger and stronger. In this case, let's look at the battlefield first. The Sphinxes do have a 5/6 out, so that is something to keep in mind. But we do have a 6/6 Regna here, and this will become a 6/6 whenever we attack. So we could attack the Sphinxes if we want to. Then the dragons don't have anything to block. They seem like a prime target to do something to. But unfortunately, the demons can't be... The demons have an 8/8 untapped right now, so we can't do anything about that. So I think that we go ahead and attack both the Sphinx and the dragon this turn and go from there. So 1 for each, and that means that our angel here, our lovely angel, will get a +1/+1 counter. So Vigilance means that they don't tap. They will be able to play offense and defense in the same round of turns. So the dragons can't block, so they're going to take 6 damage. And let's just go ahead and say that that is commander damage. So commander damage just means that whenever you take 21 or more damage from a single commander, then you lose the game automatically. And that's kind of to keep players from gaining infinite life and then drawing a game out for hours and hours and hours. Okay, so the Sphinxes, though, they have a blocker. Do they want to block? Almost certainly not. They're going to take the 6 damage. They are needing Guardian of Tazim to help them tap things down like crazy. So we are going to, as the Angel deck, we're going to go ahead and pass the turn. We have 7 cards in hand, so we're not too worried about that. So let's see what the Sphinx deck can do now. And that is untap, upkeep, draw a card, and we are Pilgrim's Eye. So not quite what we want to see, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and pay 7 mana, and we will have Quicksilver Gargantuan come into play as a copy of Guardian of Tazim again, except it's a 7/7. So let's look at the top 4 cards of our library, and we will choose dragons to separate our piles. So We have Sphinx of the Second Sun, really big, powerful Sphinx. Elgith, Crossroads Augur. If you would draw a card, if you would scry cards, draw that many cards instead. We have Palladium Mirror, and we have Sunken Hope. So, I think that if I'm the dragons, they don't seem like they're in any trouble with mana. So that's going to go with Palladium Mirror, should really go with whatever the best creature is. And in this case, Elgith Crossroads Augur isn't really that good. Now, I guess the other question is Sunken Hope actually good at all? So at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player returns a creature he or she controls to its owner's hand. Unfortunately, that would mean that that would force the Sphinxes to keep replaying Sphinxes, which would be good, but we're having to get rid of cards, which means that the Quest for the Blood Lord, or the Blood Chief Ascension, I should say. It should be named Quest for the Blood Lord, but in any case, that effect is going to keep causing an 8 damage swing every single time. So the Sunken Hope may be the worst card here. So it's down to whatever is the best card out of these two. And I think that Sphinx of the Second Sun is probably the best card. So, yeah, because it's... Yeah, I think that's what we want to do. Yeah. Okay. That's how I want to do it. And I think, yeah, we're going to take these two. We're going to take Sphinx of the Second Sun. And these other two are going to go into our graveyard, which means we lose 4 life for the Sphinxes. And the demons gain 4 life. So, but now we have 3 of the Guardian of Tazim's out. So let's go ahead and play an island. And that island is going to tap both of the demon's creatures and keep Lathliss tapped down. So then, we're 1 mana shy. Okay, so that means that we can attack the demon deck with these 4 creatures, and that is going to be 8 damage plus 5 damage, so 13 damage to the demon deck. Let's go ahead and take a look. 13 damage, which puts them at 12 life. So that's all we can do for the turn, which means, unfortunately, we have to discard a card. And the card we're going to discard is... I think we get rid of... Oh, wait. I think we get rid of the Horizon Scholar. And we will lose 2 life, and the demon deck will gain 2 life. Okay. That's where we're at. So the dragon deck now. The dragons are going to untap. Lathliss stays tapped. We draw a card for the turn, and it is a mountain. Man, that's like so many turns too late. I needed that like 3 turns ago. Okay. So let's go and play that. We really need more creatures out. I would like to play Sunbirds Invocation, but I think we're more desperate for creatures. So we're going to pay 5 mana, and we're going to cast Skyline Despot. There's no counterspells available right now, so we will get a 5/5 dragon. And not only that, but when this guy enters the battlefield, we actually become the monarch. So let's see if we have a monarch card real quick. It doesn't look like that. Let's see. Do you guys have a monarch? Is it on maybe on the back side of the card. No, it doesn't look like it. Interesting. I know somebody has a Monarch card, but just to make it easier to do so I don't have to draw another thing. Give me a second. Let me see. Right here. Yeah, there we go. There's a Monarch card. So, we become the Monarch, which means at the end of our turn we get to draw an extra card, and then if somebody deals combat damage to us, they get to control that. So, I really, really want to attack this turn, but the question is who to attack. So, we do have several dragons that we can attack with. The question is, we literally could take out the demon deck right now, and the Sphinxes are really low. They're going to want to attack, but I'm kind of wondering if that is a mistake. I kind of wonder if that's a mistake. I wonder if we hold off one turn and play our Rage Reflection from our hand next turn. I wonder if that makes more sense. Because then we would deal double strike damage, and we could at least get through some creatures, but man, the angels over there are really looking like they're going to be hot. But unfortunately, 2 of them are 6/6s, and one of them is a 5/5, so they could actually outright kill all of our creatures out. So, let's see. I think we hold off because we kind of want to see the demon deck be able to take out the Sphinxes, because then we could take the demon deck out pretty quickly after that. So I think we're going to hold off, surprisingly. So we're going to draw a card at the end of our turn because of Monarch, and it was a mountain. So many turns too late for these mountains. Okay, so we will pass the turn, and that's all we're doing right now. The demons are going to go, and let's see. So we don't get to untap any of our creatures here. We just get to draw a card for the turn, and it is Pestilence. Interesting. So let's put Pestilence in our hand. Let's play a swamp, and the question now is, can we get rid of anything easily that could draw us into a bunch of cards without causing too much life loss? The answer to that seems no and no, with no and then some no. Man, we really need to get rid of some of those Tazims though, and because I'm really kind of concerned we're just going to get totally destroyed. I think maybe let's go ahead and do no wait, we need a ton of mana to get rid of him. Yikes. Yikes and yikes. We're so going to die. I think we legitimately we're not going to make it. I'm not sure how we can get around this without some kind of, unless we'd have to draw a Wrath effect this turn. That's the only way we're getting out of this, and I'm not sure there's a way that we can draw a Wrath card that we want to draw. But let's go ahead and try. We will attempt to, let me think. We want to pay a black and 2 life. So that maybe we can draw 2 cards. I'm looking around and let me... well... what we could do here, this is a bit wonky, but we may be able to do it. So actually, before we do that, let's go ahead and play Archfiend of Ifnir. And then we're going to, let's see, how many cards can we draw with the mana that we have? So we lose 8 life, draw 8 cards. And 8 cards. So that means we'd have to discard 5 cards. Oh, wow. That's actually, like, almost. That's almost. Okay, so let's go ahead and do one. We will give... Let's actually give Regna -1. No, wait, do we need to? Let's give the Gargantuan -1/-1. And we will draw 2 cards because we paid 2 life. Cabal Stronghold and Archfiend of Depravity. Okay, so not really anything. That will help us later. So let's play 1 more black and 2 more life. That will put us down to 10, and we will give the Quicksilver Gargantuan a second -1/-1, and we will draw 2 cards. Brood of Cockroaches and a Swamp. Okay, so another black, and we will give Lathless Dragon Queen -1/-1, and we will draw 2 cards. And that's Black Market and Bajuka Bog. Yeah, okay. So then, let's see. We need to do that one more time, so you'll see here in a second what I'm doing. 1 more black and 2 more life. So actually we needed to be down to 8. So this is what we're looking at right now. So we're at 6 life. We will give the Quicksilver Gargantuan another -1/-1, and we'll draw 2 cards. And Mortuary Mire and Magus of the Coffers. Interesting. Okay. So we put these into our hand, and now we will end our turn. So nobody has any ability to stop what I'm about to do because the blue deck doesn't have Repulse, so the mana to be able to cast Repulse. So all they can do is sit in horror as I discard 1, 2, let's see, 2, let's see, 3, yeah, Brood of Cockroaches, 4, and we need 1 more card to discard. And I think that in this case we get rid of this Swamp. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. So now we have 7 cards in hand. We discard 5 cards, and Archfiend of Ifnir, whenever you cycle or discard another card, put a -1/-1 counter on each creature your opponents control. So that means that 5 -1/-1 counters are going on to each creature. So that means Opportunistic Dragon is dead. So that's 1 card. This 5/5 Dragon is dead. This Sky Despot is dead. Lathless got a -1/-1, so it's dead. And we put 3 -1/-1s on the actually no, we wanted 2 on the Quicksilver Gargantuan and 1 on the other copy of the Spark Double. So then we look over at the Angels, and this this Angelic Field Marshal got got 5 -1/-1 counters, so it dies, and that means that both Regna and Herald of War are no longer strong enough because they were getting... No, wait, I guess they don't get the +2/+2. So yeah, so all of the Angels are dead now. And all of the Sphinxes are dead. So that's 4. So let's see. So that means that the Dragon deck lost 4 cards. So they're going to lose 8 life from that. And the Demons are going to gain 8 life from that. Then the Angels lost 3 creatures. So they're going to lose 6 life. And we gained 6 life. And then the Sphinxes lost 4 cards, so they're going to lose 8 life. No, wait. And we gain another 8 life. Wow. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I managed to save that. That was so close to being dead for the demon deck. Oh man, the demons just flipped that around like crazy. Holy crap. Okay. So, that's all we could do for the turn. As little as that was. And not only that, but since we have the Demon of Dark Schemes, whenever another creature dies, we get one of the charge counters. So we actually got 11 charge counters from that. So let's try to get some good thematic dice going for this. So 6 and 5 here. So we can start reviving creatures as well using Demon of Dark Schemes. That was quite a swing there. So we'll keep going around getting rid of creatures as they come, but I don't want to. I'll do that. Yeah, like it'll be easier if I do it that way. So the angels get to go. They untap with an empty field again. Draw a card, and it is Sephara Sky's Blade. Interesting. So let's go ahead and play this Plains, and also I think that we're just going to... We could play a couple of different cards. I think that now that the board is clear, let's go and play Smothering Tithe, because it's virtually impossible for the black deck to get rid of, and it means that we'll just get a ton of mana from them trying to draw cards. So after that, I think that, yeah, I don't think that we really want to play anything else. We don't want to give away what we could do if we get the right cards, so we're just going to pass the turn. And that means that the Sphinxes are back down to not doing so hot. They are down like this. Oof. And they are at very low life, too. So untap, draw a card, Hour of Eternity. So we are going to play an island, and... Oh, that's awkward. But we could actually do that, though. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to try to get around this whole... Now that Unesh is dead, let's go ahead and do something really crazy. So we're going to pay 3 mana here. And... let's see. Do we... Oh, did we want to pay the mana? And I don't think that we did for Smothering Tithe. So Smothering Tithe is a 4-cost enchantment that whenever an opponent draws a card, let's see, whenever an opponent draws a card, that player may pay 2 colorless, and if they don't, then the Smothering Tithe creates a treasure token that basically can be sacrificed for mana. Okay, so let's see. This will be interesting. This is a rules interaction that I'm not... Yeah, I guess because they're the same layer, then I can apply them how I want to, because it's happening at the same time. That's a really... I'll have to see if I can find out if there's a interaction with it. Okay, so let's see. Actually, maybe Quicksilver Gargantuan's page has something about it. Hang on just a second. There is a... I have a slight rules correction. Yeah, so I'm going to have to look up a little bit of interaction here. I have a weird card in hand. So we're going to pay 3 colorless, 2, 2, and 2. And we are going to cast this card called Hour of Eternity. So it is a weird mana cost. And let's go ahead and look it up so you can see here what this card is. No, that's not it. Here we go. Hour of Eternity. So its mana cost is X, X, and 3 blue. What that means is that when we play it, we choose a value for X, and then both of those X's have to be whatever that value is. In this case, we're going to choose 3. So the cost of this card to be able to play is 3 blue, and then you have to pay 3 for 1 X. There's 1 X, and then we have to pay 3 for the second X. So there's the other 3. So, exile 3 target creature cards from your graveyard. For each card exiled this way, create a token that's a copy of that card, except it's a 4/4 black zombie. So, we don't really... That's the problem with this. And actually, do we have anything else that we would rather? And I don't think we do. Okay, so... the interaction between except it's a 4/4 black zombie and Quicksilver Gargantuan says except it's still a 7/7. I'm going to say that since they're on the same layer for power and toughness changing stuff or characteristic defining effects, I'm not exactly sure. I'll have to look back at the layering, the rules for layering. So I'm going to say that since these are applied sort of at the same time, or would be applied at the same time, I get to choose how they're applied, and I want this creature to become a 7/7. So this will be a 7/7 of let's say Ifnir, the demon Ifnir, and then Spark Double is going to come into play as a copy of Vilis, Broker of Blood. And then we have Guardian of Tazim. And the reason I can't have these two also come into play as a copy of Guardian of Tazim is because these cards can only copy stuff that's already on the battlefield. It can't copy something that's also entering the battlefield at the same time. So I have to choose different things for them. I guess I could arguably do 2 copies of the Ifnir, but I think that I want to be able to draw a bunch of extra cards with Vilis, Broker of Blood. So, let's see. Yeah, so it's a 4/4 zombie that has a +1/+1 counter and is Vilis, Broker of Blood. Let's go ahead. I think that I may need to consider cards to remind myself what these things are. So, let's go ahead and write a little name here. Vilis, and we have a second one, Ifnir. So there, Ifnir is this one. And Vilis is this one. And this way, whenever we discard cards now, we can maybe take some advantage of the discarding instead of just losing all of our life. So let's go ahead and play an island, and we will keep the 8/8 Vilis over there tapped so it can't do any more damage. And that's with Guardian of Tazim's ability, and because we haven't played a land this turn. Okay, so that's all we can do. We've tapped out. We are going to pass the turn. Let's go ahead and clear that out. Okay, sorry. So, dragons get to go. Untap, upkeep, draw a card, and it is a mountain. Okay, so let's go ahead and play that mountain, and we are going to spend a turn playing Sunbird Invocation so that maybe we can get... Oh yeah, Spear of Heliod is over here. Okay. So that maybe we can take advantage of Sunbird's Invocation whenever we cast Lathless next turn. Okay, so that's all we're going to do. We're going to pass the turn after that and see what mischief the dragons or the demons can get into now that they've kind of taken over a little bit. So untap, Phyllis does not untap, so we are going to draw a card for the turn, and it is a swamp. That's okay. So let's see. How many swamps do we even have? That's a good question. Oops, let's not do that. So we have 5, 6, 7. That's a healthy amount of swamps. So let's go ahead and put Cabal Stronghold into play. So it is a land that can tap for a colorless mana, or we can pay 3, tap this, and add a black mana for each basic swamp we control. So that's actually really, really useful. Let's go ahead and we played that swamp this turn, so we can't play another swamp. Let's go ahead and do... Let's go and activate it, actually. So we're going to do these 3 here, and that means that we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana from that. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to cast Liliana's Contract. So this is at 3. So Liliana's Contract is a 5-cost enchantment. Whenever it enters the battlefield, you draw 4 cards and you lose 4 life. So we're going to draw 4 cards, and it is 3 swamps and Demon Lord Belzenlock. Nice, nice, nice. So that means that we have 2 mana left over right now. Okay, so what's next? We lost 4 life, so we got to do something about that. We are at 24 life. Okay, so now we get to do draw 4 cards, because since we lost, Phyllis makes it so that when we lose life, we draw cards. So we drew 4 cards. Oh, man. Swamps, Sacrifice, Blood Gift Demon. Wow. Lots of stuff. Okay. So, let's see. We do want to do something about all of the... Let's see, how many cards do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 cards. So we are pretty much going to board wipe another time, because, yeah, we're going to discard 7 cards almost certainly. But we do want to set up our next turn really, really well. So let's go ahead and do... Sphinxes are at 7 life. Can we do any direct damage to them? That might be a good... might be a good possibility. We have a lot of that stuff. Do we have a dragon that got discarded that maybe could deal some damage for us? It doesn't really look like it. I don't think the Sphinxes have really done anything, have any creatures that they could, that like bounce anything, or, I mean, we did that to make copies of stuff. Let's see. We don't want to get rid of too many cards, because we want them to discard basically, or lose basically all that they have, all of their creatures. So, do we attack something this turn? Because I think actually, well, we may let them keep the Villa's Broker of Blood. That could be a problem, though. We do want to play another demon this turn. We have the mana, though. Okay, so let's go and say this. We pay 3 here. We have 2 floating, so that's 5 mana total. We're going to play another demon here. And I think the demon that we're going to play is Archfiend of Depravity. And the reason that we want to play another demon here is because we have 4 demons out now. And Liliana's Contract has, when it enters or after it enters the battlefield and does that thing, at the beginning of our upkeep, if we control 4 or more demons with different names, we win the game. That's it. That's all we have to do. So the question is, can something that somebody else have disrupt our having 4 demons in play? And it's very possible that they do have something that can stop us, but for now, I think that, let's see, do we have anything else? So we really want to get a bunch of mana. Oh, that's so bizarre. Okay, so we are going to, I think what we do is we do this. We tap 1. we play Sacrifice. So sacrifice one of your creatures to add mana to your mana pool equal to that creature's casting cost. So we are going to sacrifice this one to get us 5 mana, and this is going to go up 1. Actually, do we want... Maybe we want to do Villas, so we get 8 mana. Yeah, let's do that. So now we have 8 mana in our mana pool. We're going to use 6 of that mana, so we have 2 floating here, in order to bring back 2 different creatures, and we're doing that with Demon of Dark Scheme. So we've used... Well, let's see. We need to use 2 more, so we have 4 left. It's 4 of that. So we're going to do Villas and this Indulgent Tormentor. So both of them are going to come out. Let's see. So now we have 2 mana floating, because we only use 6 of the 8 that we got from Villas Broker of Blood. So let's go ahead and we'll lose 4 more life, taking us down to 20, and we will give -1/-1 to... We'll give -2/-2 to the Gargantuan, and that means we draw 4 more cards. So we have Halo Hunter, Obnixilis of the Black Oath, Priest of Bloodright, and Swamp. Okay, so now we've used all of our floating mana. We just have this stuff out. We have 5 demons, so if somebody gets rid of 1 demon, then we're still okay. So let's see. We're not going to attack anybody because we don't want to mess anything up or give anybody any opportunity to do something. So we're going to end the turn, which means we have to discard some cards. Let's go ahead and discard. We need to discard all the way down. Let's get rid of... Let's see. Yeah, let's keep that one. We'll get rid of this demon. We will get rid of soul channeling. We will get rid of... let's go and get rid of this Magus of the Coffers. And we need 1 more card. So we have 2 here. Let's get rid of... Let's get rid of the... Oh, I don't know. Interesting. Let's get rid of Black Market. I'm kind of... Let's see. So that's 7 cards in hand. Okay, so that means that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards get discarded, which means that all of the other creatures on the battlefield are almost certainly dead. So the Sphinxes are going to lose another 6 life, and I'm going to gain 6 life and be at 26. Okay, so this is where we're at this turn with life totals. Here we go. That's me ending the turn with 5 demons and essentially giving everybody 1 turn to try to stop me from winning the game. So, Angels, what do you have? Just about a bajillion. I don't know. There's so many. We drew so many cards this turn. There's just an enormous amount of mana here. So let's go ahead and draw a card for the turn. Well, actually, at the end of the turn, let's go ahead and Endless Atlas to draw a card. Emeria the Sky Ruin. Okay, so untap, upkeep, draw a card, and Noble Purpose. So is any of that removal? And unfortunately, none of it is removal. So we're just going to play a creature essentially for free. Actually, both of our creatures essentially for free. And I guess we'll say that ends up using up all of our mana, and we'll pay 5 here to cast Noble Purpose. So if anybody attacks, we'll gain that much, or whenever a creature I control deals combat damage, I gain that much life. So that's all I can really do, and I have to pass the turn. Over here with the Sphinxes, do we have removal? So we lost all of these creatures again. And we need to see if we can stop this win the game nonsense. So untap, upkeep, draw a card. Glyph Keeper, that is not removal. So actually we do have somewhat of an ability to stop this. So we're going to pay 5. We're going to do Sunken Hope. And then we're going to pay 3 mana and cast Repulse. return target creature to its owner's hand. We will return Villas, the Blood Broker, to its owner's hand. And now, and then we draw a card from Repulse. Okay, so it's an island. So let's go ahead and play an island, and we will tap 3 and play Pilgrim's Eye so that maybe we can have 1 blocker. So we'll put an island into our hand from Pilgrim's Eye's ability. Okay, so how this is going to work is Sunken Hope has, at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player returns a creature he or she controls to its owner's hand. So when abilities get put on the stack, like Liliana's contract happens at the beginning of the upkeep. So does Sunken Hope. So it goes active player, non-active player. So essentially, Liliana's ability will get put onto the stack first, and then Sunken Hope's ability will be put on the stack afterwards. So it's like Liliana's contract, and then Sunken Hope. And since Sunken Hope is on top, they have to return a creature to their hand before they do anything else. Then Liliana's contract will happen. And if they had, let's see if it's, yeah, so this is an intervening if. So both to have the ability to trigger and for it to fully resolve, you have to have the four demons with different names. So they're not going to be able to keep that. So they're going to have to do something about our Sunken Hope, which buys our compadres maybe some more turns here. So the dragons are going to get to go. Oh, they were supposed to draw a card from the monarch. Okay, so, oops, untap. Oh, and if this thing at the beginning of each player's instep. Okay, so yeah, two creatures and sacrifice the rest. Okay, that's fine. So let's see. We can play a mountain. Let's see how much mana that we have. So we've already cast Lathless once. So that means that 6 mana here and 2 more for Semblance. Unfortunately, that's not quite enough to also be able to play Spitflame, which deals 4 damage to a creature. But that being said, we really need to kill off the Dark Schemes. So let's just play. We're going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see, do we actually, is it 6 lands? 5 other mountains. Okay, so we are going to get Valakut at least. So let's go and pay 6 here. Lathless costs 2 extra because of it coming from the command zone a second time. So we're going to cast Lathless. And let's see. So Lathless gets another cast. Okay, so whenever you cast a spell from your hand... Oh, from your hand we get to reveal cards. Blah. So maybe we don't cast Lathless. Let's cast Rage Reflection. Okay, whenever you cast a spell from your hand, reveal the top X cards for your library, where X is that card's converted mana cost. So let's reveal 6 cards off the top of our library. Okay, so then you may cast a card revealed this way with converted mana cost X or less without paying its mana cost. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So, do we want... Horde Smelter Dragon? And I don't think so. I think we really probably want the Scourge of Valkus. So these get shuffled and put on the bottom of our library. Okay. No, this is here. Oh, we played one. Oh man, I'm all over the place. Okay, so that's okay. That's okay. Valkus comes into play. It has double strike and haste. And when it enters the battlefield, or whenever another dragon enters the battlefield, we get to deal X damage to target creature or player, where X is the number of dragons I control. So let's see, would have actually been able to kill. I have to deal 3 damage to something. I would have done this differently, but since I already looked at the cards on the top of the library, I can't really take that back, unfortunately. So what I could have done is I played the mountain and didn't realize that I had Valakut out. So I could have dealt 3 damage, and then I could have done Spit Flame and dealt the other 3 damage to try to destroy Demon Dark Schemes, which would have helped go a long way in stopping the demon deck from being able to just re-get demons over and over from the graveyard. Can't do that now. We just have Scourge of Valkus. So where can the most amount of damage from Scourge of Valkus go? So 3 damage is absolutely going. Let's go ahead and destroy the Indulgent Tormentor. So that's 3 damage there. And I think that the damage from Scourge of Valkus is going to go straight to the demon's face for 1. So they are at 25 life. And now I can attack with Scourge of Valkus. Let's go ahead and attack the demon deck. So they would be taking potentially a lot of damage from Scourge of Valkus if they don't block. So the question is, do they have enough life to handle that kind of an attack? I think that, yeah, we're going to go ahead and block with the Archfiend of Depravity. So Archfiend of Depravity blocks and stops Scourge of Valkus from really dealing any serious damage to us. So then at the end of the turn, we get to draw a card from being the Monarch, and we get Balefire Dragon. That's pretty nice. It's a good card. He can be. He's not too bad. He's actually very, very good. Okay. So the demons get to go. We did not get to do Liliana's contract, and we also have to return a creature to our hand. That's not quite where we wanted to be, because we do really want to kill the... Well, we'll kill the Pilgrim's Eye and they'll die. Okay, so let's return the Archfiend of Ifnir to our hand. Okay. Well, do we actually... Or do we just want to do Demon of Dark Schemes to our hand? I think maybe that's okay. Let's do that one. Then we will draw a card for the turn, and it is Ifnir Deadlands. Okay. Yeah, okay. We can do that. Let's play a swamp. We need to activate our Cabal Stronghold card. So we will activate it, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards, or 8 swamps. So let's go and use that full 8 mana for Vilis, Broker of Blood. Then we do want to go a bit bananas here. So let's see. What else do we want to do? So we have that dragon over there. We have Pilgrim's Eye. It would be nice to get rid of the angels over there, but they have a Myria, so they're going to be returning the angel each turn anyway. So the Sphinxes are for sure dead this turn. Sephara Sky's Blade is a 7/7. So we don't want that to stick out any longer than we possibly can. We can't let that keep sticking around. So, Let's do... we will tap 2. No, do we want to do that? Demon of Dark Schemes would be nice. We need to discard 7 cards this turn. Okay, so we're going to pay 2 here to play Cabal Ritual, and because we have 7 or more cards in our graveyard, we get 5 mana from that. So we're going to pay 1 more to play Demon of Dark Scheme. So everything is going to get -2/-2, which means that the Sphinxes are now dead. They lost 2 life, and they are at -1, and we are going to be +2. So now, let's see. So that means that it's going to cost a little less to be able to get rid of some other things that are out there. I mean, in terms of discarding cards for Archfiend of Ifnir to get rid of the Angels. So let's go ahead and pay 2 more for Vilis, Broker of Blood's ability to give Scourge of Valkus -2/-2, which takes it all the way to dead now. We draw 4 cards, and we would lose 4 life, but because we... let's see. Actually, that also... No, wait, because the Shepherd isn't dead yet. Okay, so... Yeah, I think that... So Valkus is dead, which means that the dragons lose 2 life, and we gain 2 more life. So we're at 20... Well, sorry, we paid 4 life, but because Valkus died, we gained 2 back, so we only lost 2 life. So we are down to 25. Okay. And we drew 4 cards, and that gave us a number of different things to do stuff with. But we only have 2 mana left. How many cards are we discarding? So here is 7 cards. This is 3. We need to get it a little bit more, or we want to get it a little bit more. So let's go ahead and pay 2 more. We'll lose 4 more life, be down to 21. And we draw 4 more cards, and we are giving -2/-2 to Sephara, Sky's Blade. So this is 4 here. Wow. That's really, really good. Okay. So we have a ton of cards in hand. We want to make an attack while we still have the opportunity, so we are going to attack and deal 5 damage to the Dragon deck, actually. Taking them down to 15 life. Because the problem is that the Angel deck still has the Sephara's Skyblade. And let's see, the Angels had gotten 1 Smothering Tithe from the... Yeah, 1 Smothering Tithe from the Sphinxes, 2 Smothering Tithes from the Dragons, and from us they got 1 from our draw this turn. And then we ended up drawing, yeah, I think let's see, we drew 8 more cards, so that's actually 12. There you go. 12 mana, but let's see, we have to discard some cards, so let's do Desecration Demon, Dream Devourer, Zathalas Demon. Let's see. Let's do Demon of Belzenok. We will do 2 lands, and we need 1 more card to discard. So we are going to discard Abyssal Persecutor. So we are getting rid of a bunch of demons, but we have 2 demons in our hand and a card that makes demons. So we can still do the win the game effect here, and that means that the Angels lose 2 more, or 2 cards, so they lose 4 life, and we gain 4 life, putting us back up to 25, and the Angel's down to 21. Or 28, I mean. Okay, so there you go. There's that. Oof. We're going a little bit long today. That's kind of fun. So, Angels go. They lost both of their creatures for sure. But during our upkeep, we get to have Emeria the Sky Ruin, bring a creature back from a graveyard for free. So we're going to bring... Do we want to do Sephara Skyblade? Actually, we want to do Emeria Shepherd. Because then we can draw a card for the turn. It's a Plains. We'll play that Plains, which gets Sephara back from the graveyard as well. Is there anything else that we want to do? They don't have something to get rid of, so let's go ahead and do 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we will play Regna as well. So maybe we can keep holding off and making it difficult to attack into us and making it so that we can stick around a little bit longer. Because we need to, basically we need to survive one turn and be able to attack, because once we can attack, we'll start gaining a bunch of life because of Noble's Purpose. Okay, so I think that's it for the turn. Actually, I guess we don't have to pay any of this mana, actually. These will just do 6, 7, 8 here. Okay. Let's see, the Angels have cast their commander a second time. Okay. So the Sphinxes, unfortunately, are dead, so we're going to keep waddling all the way around to the dragon deck. This is actually, let's just take it all the way off the table here. We will deal with that pile, fixing that pile later. Oh, and they actually lost this, so the demons actually drew a card at the end of the turn, and yeah, they're going to get rid of the blood guy. Okay. We have the throne, though. Okay, so let's see. Untap. Oh, and we got some more energy counters. We got 3 more energy counters. Jeez. From creatures dying. I gotta keep paying attention to these things. There's lots of effects going on. So draw a card for the turn. It's a mountain. Let's go ahead and play that mountain, deal 3 damage to something. Let's say we're dealing 3 damage to... Cast a card. Let's deal 3 damage directly to the demon deck. I think that's the best use of it. Okay. We drew a card for the turn. Let's play... We're going to cast Balefire Dragon. So that's 4 mana because our cost is... No. 5 mana because our cost is reduced by 2. We cast a spell with converted mana cost 7. So we look at the top 7 cards of our library. And we have Two-Headed Dragon, Territorial Hellkite, and Sarkhan's Unsealing. We really want to... Territorial Hellkite technically has higher power, but the problem is that the problem is that it attacks at random, and we don't want to attack the Angels. So we're going to do Two-Headed Dragon because it costs 6, so that's less. So now we have 2 dragons to attack with this turn. Going to shuffle those up and put them on the bottom. It needs to be in a random order. So now we're going to attack with both of our dragons against the demon deck. And actually, yeah, before that enters the battlefield, actually, sorry, we're going to go back a little bit. Before that enters the battlefield, we are going to pay 3 to cast Spitflame. So that's going to resolve. We deal 4 damage to target creature. We're going to deal 4 damage to Archfiend of Ifnir. So that's going to die. And whenever a dragon enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay a red. If you do, return Spitflame from your graveyard to your hand. We're going to return this to our hand. So now we're going to go into attacks because this is what came into play. So attacking here. So Two-Headed Dragon is a 6-cost 4/4 with flying and pay 1 colorless, 1 red. It gains +2/+0 until end of turn, and then it can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures, and that Two-Headed Dragon can block an additional creature. Okay, so let's see. I think that we have to let the Two-Headed Dragon get through, which means 8 damage, because we want to use Vilis, Broker of Blood, to block the Balefire Dragon, so that Vilis and the Balefire Dragon essentially take each other out. So, because of the double strike, see, the Balefire Dragon, when it deals damage to a player, then it deals that much damage to each creature that player controls. So we really don't want that to happen. So we're going to block with Vilis and lose our Vilis. It'll go into our graveyard. So we get 2 more of our energy counters, and the Two-Headed Dragon deals 8 damage directly to the demon's face. So this is where our life totals are now. This is going on. Who's going to win? I don't know. Who will survive? And we do get the throne. We get to become the monarch, so we drew Hoarding Dragon. That's pretty nice. Okay, that's all we can do. We're going to pass the turn back to the demons. Actually, the demons, because a creature got put into the graveyard, we actually gained 2 life, and the dragons lost 2 life. Okay, so untap, upkeep. We don't have enough demons, so we will draw a card. It is Embodiment of Agonies. That's pretty nice. We will play a swamp. Then let's go ahead and we want to activate the Cabal Stronghold again. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 swamps. So we get 9 mana. We're going to use 6 of that to activate our Demon of Dark Schemes twice. So we will return Vilis to the battlefield, and I'm thinking that we want to return some. Let's see. I think the Archfiend of Ifnir is doing us a really, really good job. So we're going to return that as well. Then, let's see. Oh, I guess they still have Spit Flame. Interesting. Okay, so maybe we don't want to return that. We want to return something that can actually survive. Is that what we want to do? So if we do Zathid Demon, and we do Desecration Demon, I think we really want to just win off of having a bunch of demons out. I think that's our path to victory in this case, at this point. Okay, so we have 3 mana left over. I guess we should have done Embodiment of Agonies first. So Embodiment of Agonies is a 3-cost Flying Death Touch demon with it enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each different mana cost from among non-land cards in your graveyard. Okay, so this we have. Let's see. Let's go ahead. We may need a lot of space for this, and it's non-land cards, so our land won't count. Okay, so we're getting over here. We have a lot of space to deal with right here. So we have Archfiend of Ifnir, and honestly, I shouldn't be rearranging the graveyard, but we're going to have to do it in order to really get a good look at this. So the Blood Speaker is a second one. These are different converted mana costs, so that's 3 lands, a 6-cost card, so that's 4. This is 2, so that's 5. Cabal Ritual is the same as Dream Devourer. This is the same as Archfiend of Ifnir. This is the same as Archfiend of Ifnir. Archfiend of Ifnir. Magus of the Coffers is a different card. Soul Channeling is a different card. There we go. Blood Gift, same as 1. Priest is the same as 1. Sacrifices a new one, so that's 2. This is the same as Dream Devourer. This is the same as Abyssal Persecutor, and same as Abyssal Persecutor. So, yeah, so it looks like 8 different mana costs in our graveyard. So we're going to get an 8/8 demon here, and we have no more floating mana to speak of. So there we go. Graveyard. And we just should play some more stuff, I think. So how much mana do we have even? So here is 7 mana, and the reason that I'm doing this, I think, is because this Aberrant Overlord, when it enters the battlefield, I get a Harpy for my devotion to black. So my devotion to black right now is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So I'm getting 18 of these Harpies, which is a significant amount of Harpies. And it means that we have a ton of blockers so that we don't have to block with our demons now. We can just block with Harpies and save our demons. And so they have to kill off our demons individually. And so they really need a board wipe to be able to stop this. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 demons. All we have to do is just pass the turn and hope that that's all we need. So the angels are going to go. The angels got, I think, just 2 more cards. No, wait, 3, because of the monarch card. The demons only drew 1 card this turn. Okay, so let's see what they draw this turn. Draw a card. Rock's Faithmender. Okay, that is a card. So let's go ahead and play that card. We will. Well, actually, a Wrath effect would really, really mean everything at this point. So let's go ahead and 1, 2 tap the Atlas. We will draw a card for the turn. It is a Plains. Okay, so not really what we wanted to see, but we may be able to still do something about this. So, well, we haven't played a land this turn. So let's go and play a Plains. That's going to bring back let's go and do this Angelic Field Marshal. Okay, so we are going to pay 4 mana. Let's see. Sorry, 7 mana, so we're down to 4. There we go. Okay, Smothering Type gave us 4 mana. We're going to play Rock's Faithmender. So whenever we gain life, we gain double that life instead. And whenever a creature we control deals combat damage, we gain life. So we're going to attack. Ooh. Okay, so how much life do we gain from attacking with each of these creatures? We gain 8 life here. This guy has lifelink, and Noble's Purpose does that gains life in addition. So this is 28 life by itself, plus 8 more life. So 32 life. Emeria Shepherd, there we go. Just Emeria Shepherd is going to gain us another 8 life. So 40 life. We're going to gain 40 life. So a Wrath effect was one way, but Rock's Faithmender basically just allowed the Angel deck to win. Wow. Because this is what's going to happen. We're going to attack the dragons for, this is 8, 7, 15 life. Let's go and turn on the life totals. So the angels are going to attack the demons, or the dragons, for 15 damage. Oh wait, no, let's do this. So the dragons now lost the game, but we gained 40 life with that. We're at 68 life, and this is where the card that we've been holding on to, like, basically the entire game, suddenly comes to fruition. Aetherflux Reservoir. Whenever you cast a spell, you may gain 1 life for each spell you've cast this turn. Pay 50 life, deal 50 damage to target creature or player. We are going to pay 50 life and deal 50 damage to the demons. Sucker. Here's our sky beam. Take it. Yeah. That's a thing that can happen. Oh, wow. Okay, so we have sky beamed so many times now with the Angel deck, and it can take so long. We may have to consider taking it out. It may be just slightly too good of a card, but I'm not sure because it took so much. Like, the Demon deck should have won by now if it weren't for so many shenanigans that were able to keep it down. And it's possible there may have been some misplays with the Dragon deck there near the end. So I don't know. That is rough, but it's so fun to be able to play that card, though. I feel bad taking it out because the Angels definitely need something. Oh, okay. Well, thank you all for watching. For the people that stopped in, I really appreciate it. I think I'm going to go ahead and call it a day now. So I hope you all have a great rest of your weekend, and I will see you next time. Remember, Wednesday or Thursday, that's going to be the next stream. So you'll be able to see me. You'll be able to catch me there with some different decks and maybe have some fun. So thank you all for watching, and I will be seeing you next time.